a documentary of Alan Turing, the inventor of artificial intelligence. A timeline of Turing's life will appear at the bottom of the picture, which first represents each new stage of his life. The timeline portrays Turing's accomplishments throughout his life, and the stage of his life represented will be highlighted red. This monumental leader of computer science was born Alan Matheson Turing on June 23, 1912. His parents quickly realized that he was a rather gifted child. Turing's early teachers also realized this, but did not respect Turing having a high level of intelligence at such a young age, so Turing was sent to Sherborne School, a boarding school for boys in England. This school was supposed to accommodate Turing's gifted abilities. Here, Turing met his best friend, Christopher Morcom. Christopher and Turing shared interests and became good friends. Morcom is shown here on holiday with his family. However, Morcom died tragically from bovine tuberculosis. Having been great friends with Morcom, Turing struggled with the loss of his great friend. After leaving Sherborne, Turing applied to both Trinity College, where his grandfather had gone to school, and to King's College. After being denied at Trinity, Turing went to King's College in 1931. During his time at King's College, Turing was an avid cross-country runner. Turing also proved the central limit theorem during his time at King's College in 1935. Because of this work, Turing was elected a junior research fellow. This string of events at King's College was the starting line of Turing's future accomplishments. While he was a junior research fellow, Turing published his first paper, titled On Computable Numbers, with an application to the Entscheidungsproblem. A main point of this paper is that hypothetically, a machine can be constructed that can solve any problem a human can solve, using simple rules. This machine later became known as the Turing machine. Turing then applied to work at Bletchley Park, a war headquarters who was working on breaking the German code Enigma. An Enigma machine was a machine that the Germans used to encrypt their messages. After the Germans encrypted their messages, they would relay these coded messages over radio signals, which the United States could intercept but not decipher. The other problem was that each day, these Enigma machines reset to the new day's settings, and so once midnight hit, their deciphering work of the day was lost. It was Turing's job to decipher these messages. Others had tried to manually decode these messages unsuccessfully. Turing thought that only a machine could decipher the messages which a machine had encrypted. So Turing set to work creating the bomb, a machine which would decipher these messages. Turing had access to a captured Enigma machine, which provided a basis for his deciphering machine. Turing's machine, the bomb, was basically 36 Enigma machines which worked together to test every possible combination of the code-creating wheels. However, even a machine wasn't able to test all of these combinations in time to receive any information about the day's attacks. After a breakthrough in his thought process, after the realization that certain phrases such as the phrase Heil Hitler were repeated every day in every message, Turing was able to finally make his machine efficient. However, this did not end the problem. Because the United States would now know where the Germans would attack, we could simply defend these areas. But if all of a sudden we decided to defend a previously undefended area where the Germans were about to attack, or if we turned our ships around in the middle of the ocean, the Germans would know that we had broken their Enigma code and would create a new code within days, which would require years' worth of work to break again. So Turing worked with war generals to calculate which attacks to defend and which to let through, given the severity and the possibility of defeat. His machine was later destroyed, but has been recreated. Turing's main legacy, however, was the invention of the computer. After his work at Bletchley Park, Turing went on to create the ACE, the automatic computing engine. When the press found out about plans to build Turing's ACE, they nicknamed this proposed computer a giant brain. This advanced system for calculating mathematical equations was put to the test at the National Physical Laboratory and was set aside for being too complex. This ACE computer, however, was used as a basis for the Manchester Mark I, the Pilot Model ACE, Mosaic, and Bendix G15, which was considered the first personal computer. Turing's other significant contribution was the Turing machine, a machine that, in the words of Wired, was a hypothetical machine that could be used to simulate any algorithmic computation. The Turing machine would be fed by a long piece of tape on which would be written single-character instructions. The machine could read each instruction one at a time, process it according to a predetermined coded algorithm, and then move the tape back or forwards as necessary." End quote. This machine was groundbreaking because it was the first machine idea that had multiple operations held in a memory, which could be used at the discretion of the computer. This first electronic, fully mechanical computer was the U.S. ENIAC. Alan Turing's death. Alan Turing was convicted with acts of gross indecency for being homosexual, a crime at the time. Instead of choosing to go to jail, Turing chose to take hormonal medicines which had very negative side effects. Turing in his final days continued to work but suffered horrible side effects from these drugs. As a child, Alan Turing was obsessed with the story of Snow White. Snow White fell asleep by eating a poisoned apple. When Turing was found dead in his home, a bitten apple, laced with cyanide, was found near him, and his death was at first ruled a suicide. Apple Corporation is rumored to have designed their logo after this incident, a legacy of its own. Alan Turing is also considered the father of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence had not been proposed before Turing, showing that he was a leader in not only the creation of machines, but the idea of this type of machine. This proposal, also called the Turing test, said that if a machine could convince 30% of people that it was another human, then it would be considered intelligent. The Turing School of Software and Design, inspired by Turing's leadership in computer science, is a school for new leaders in computer software and design. The Alan Matheson Turing Award started in 1966 and is given for major contributions of lasting importance to computing. The award is accompanied by a cash prize of $250,000. Recently, the movie The Imitation Game was created, which highlights Turing's work during World War II in the creation of the bombe, the Enigma decoding machine. Along with saving possibly millions of lives during World War II, Turing, a leader in computer science and artificial intelligence, has left the lasting legacy of turning the job of a computer from a human's job into a machine's job.